Hey hi, today we are going to discussing about a very important interview question of React.js. It's a functional component and class components in React. Okay, let's come with the syntax. Functional component is a simple JavaScript function that takes a props as argument and return JSX. So functional component are used in very regular way in React.js application development. And the functional component look like this. We take a functional and the function, the keyword, then function keyword name, component name, and then props as an argument, and then we have to return the JSX syntax. Here's the JSX syntax. Okay, and then come with the component class component. Class component used in ES6 and class syntax are extend React.component. They requires a render, okay, and the method to return JSX, but the class component is not used and this time in more frequent as compared to functional component. So functional component is more popular than the class component in React.js. The class component look like this. We used to define class, then class name, extend React component, then bracket started, render, and then in render we use return the JSX syntax. And this whole PPT is designed by my colleague Sonam Singh. So let's get started with the state management. The functional component before React 16.8, functional component were stateless. Means the before 16.8 functional component is stateless. That's why it's used lesser than the class component before 16.8. okay, with the introduction of React hooks, when the React hooks come in the spotlight, then the things become change. Okay, they can now manage the state and other sides of the effects using useState, useEffects, and the functional components syntax is look like this. We use to constant, then the count is the getter value, and the set count is the setter value, and then useState, and the in bracket we use to put our values, is it in string or integer. Then the class component manage state using this.state. In class component we use this.state to modify it using by this.setState. So this is the thing, class component, and the syntax of the class component is this.state bracket started count 0, and then this set the states and the count 1. So it's becomes so much tough to use these things. Okay, so let's get started with the next topic, lifecycle methods. In lifecycle method, the functional component, no direct lifecycle methods are there, but can handle similar behaviors with hooks. In the functional component there is no direct lifecycle. We can use the hooks to make these things it's behave similar to the lifecycle. So useEffect is one of them, and the syntax is this useEffect bracket started, then the functional arrow come, and then we can do these things in this way, and then comment is there, and the logic dependencies is there. The class component use explicitly lifecycle methods like component did mount, component did update, component will unmount. Then these things make things more complex as compared to functional component. That's why we come with the functional component in place of class component, and the class component look like this. It's a syntax. So the performance issues. The functional component generally performs better due to simpler structure, because functional component is so similar, so we avoid the overhead of class instantiations and methods binding. The class components may be slightly less performant because of the needs of manage this. We have to manage this, this context and overhead of lifecycle methods. So that makes more complex as compared to functional component. This keyword, let's discuss with this keyword. The functional component do not use this keyword because this keyword used in the class component. Everything based on the functional scope. The class component required this keyword to access props, states, and the methods, and often need bindings for events handler. This component look like this. This is the syntax which we use for this component: hooks, availability. The functional component fully compatible with the React hooks, useState, useEffects, useContext, etc. And the class component cannot use the hooks directly because hooks is the type of function. It's also called as a function. Okay, the hooks directly need to rely on the class-based methods. So that's why the functional component becomes more popular. The code reusability becomes easier. The functional component tends simpler and easier to read, especially for smaller presentation components. The class components can be more verbose, and due to the need for the lifecycle methods and this binding legacy uses, the functional components modern best practices for the most new development, especially with the power of hooks, because the hooks change everything in the React. The class components more common in older versions, React code base, but can still use in projects, but it's much more complex. Thank you so much for watching till end. If you like this video, please comment and share this video. If any question you want to ask from me, so please